Welcome to Clarion Connection. I'm Ron Wilshire, and my guest today is Jamie Simpson, a member of the Clarion Borough Council. We wanted to talk about repairs on the Clarion Pool. Last year, it was announced or indicated that the Clarion Pool may be closed this year because of ADA requirements and some other concerns with the pool. So it was looking a little bit gloomy until some members of council said, no, wait a minute, let's look at this again, and also some volunteers stepped forward. Jamie, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, wow. That's a lot to talk about right there. Even that process, even before I got on council, I think there was certainly that thought that there wasn't going to be a Clarion Borough pool anymore, or that it was just cost prohibitive to continue. And, as a citizen, and even my wife and I were talking about this, our family goes to the pool. We live in town. That's, I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. So, and we understand, what, the times that we're in, and you can't pay for everything. So I think we were pretty reserved to the fact that, hey, if the borough says we can't afford a pool, you sort of look around and you see a place like Oil City, which has put together this unbelievable public pool. I mean, it's just, I can't even tell you. It's like the Taj Mahal of public pools up there. And, if you're trying to compete with that or trying to put something together to upgrade to those type of specifications, I think my wife and I were pretty reserved, like, okay, this isn't going to happen. And then everything that transpired in January, and all of a sudden, here I am, Mr. Happy, sitting on council. And so then you got to take a look at it and see what the real cost is. And I think, within a couple of weeks, you realized it wasn't as expensive as it possibly could have been.
There was a local group that also formed, opened the Clarion Pool in 2012. I think Dan Clark is connected with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dan and his wife, and I know Sharon Montgomery, and there's a few other people involved in the group. I think what they initially did was bring a lot of awareness. I think that, what are the possibilities? How do we make this happen? Has every avenue been exhausted to find a way to keep this pool open? And I think their persistence, helped the board a little bit too, and saying, hey, let's take another look at this, or let's re-examine this. And since then, they've, I've got to know Dan pretty well the last couple months, and their concerns are all valid. They're in it for the long haul. So, and that's good to know. I mean, that's good to have people in the community that are really excited and interested and dedicated to putting something together.
I know there was a feasibility study done a number of years ago, and it kind of suggested a top level replacement for the pool.
Right.
And so that was some of the thought, I think, in saying, oh, we can't afford this.
Right.
But you people analyzed it and just went for the basics, what you needed.
Well, and I think we're even in the process right now where we're taking that feasibility study, and we actually have the EADS group, the engineering group, taking a look at that and taking a look at the pool, and from, Tom Thompson's recommendations from Public Works, sort of breaking down that feasibility study so we can see, what's essential, what actually has to happen, because there's still, even though the pool's going to open this year with the required lift and the access to the actual pool through the stairs and the lift, there's still things that we are not compliant in. And that is something that, that has to be structured through phases. The ADA calls it readily achievable, is really what it is. So there's still two more areas directly concerning the ADA that we just aren't compliant right now, that we have to put a plan together over the course of hopefully a year and a half.
You got some extra time, I understand, with the federal requirements. They backed off a little bit on the ADA because I think you had to have it done this summer if you were going to open.
March 15th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not that I know it off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but I do. Yeah.
But now there's a little bit of time left in that. So you basically still have to make a decision whether this is a short-term fix, and then the next step is what do we do more long-term for the pool?
Yeah, exactly. I think, they extended it to May 15th. They gave everybody 2 months, and I'm not so sure because that requirement affects a broad base of, it's not just pools, but it's recreation activities in general. It's golf courses and boat docks and all these places that people have public rec. I think the main thing on the pool side was more on the private people, like the hotels that had pools, and even water parks are affected. I think a lot of those constituents were really, how do we make this happen? The public, the public pool, at least what we found out, it wasn't that big of a deal to make that happen. At the time, obviously, it's still a time crunch. We still don't actually have it installed yet. I mean, that's going to happen here in the next week or so. But
what kind of deadline are you looking at for the pool opening?
Well, right now, I mean, we have a big celebration planned. We are, we're planning a big celebration Memorial Day Saturday. I believe that's, what is that, the 26th, I believe, May 26th, from noon to 4. And that's sort of to thank all the volunteers, to thank all of, we've had some wonderful benefactors that have stepped forward so far in the initial process. Specifically, Paul Weaver's family, the Garbarino family. When those gentlemen passed away here the last year, they set up a little fund to, if you'd like to contribute, this is where they'd like the money to go, and it was all pushed towards the pool. And with their generosity, and also the Rotarians stepped up here a couple months ago. It's just unbelievable that within 2.5 months, we go from no pool to, hey, this is going to happen. So,
well, that's pretty remarkable to get that going. Do you want to talk about some of the work that's being done by volunteers? I know I was in there and saw you you patching and painting and scraping.
Well, I think once we had this momentum, we sort of talked to the Rotarians a little bit and said, what they're a volunteer organization. They like to get their hands dirty. What are some things that they could do physically to help us out other than just simply donating money? So we had Rotarians there and a few other community members, Dan Clark being one of them. We basically scraped the whole inside of the pool, and with the help of Borough Maintenance and Tom, they just finished actually repainting the whole inside. So it's going to look brand new when you go there this summer. The other big effort was the interior of the restrooms and the changing rooms. They were completely scraped down and repainted. We had a tremendous work day a few Saturdays ago where we had about 10 Rotarians, a few community members, and then on top of that, the sorority sisters from Zeta Tau Alpha also donated their time through the University Service Project. And you know how it is, Ron, when you have people that say, "Oh, we're going to show up and donate some time," and they say, "Oh, we're going to have 10 or 15 people." You sort of go in the back of your mind, "Oh, it's probably like 5 or 6 or 2 even." So when the girls said they were going to donate their time, I'm thinking, okay, how many girls are you having? They said, "Oh, we have 30 girls. They're all going to be there." I'm thinking, okay, if we get 10, that'll be fantastic. All 30 of those girls showed up, and it was awesome. I mean, we literally got 4 hours worth of work done probably in an hour. So it was a lot of fun. It had good energy, and we got a lot accomplished. So all the washrooms are repainted and ready to go, and hopefully we can work on some more painting projects over the summer as the weather turns nice.
So the Y is still going to manage it in the season this year?
Yeah, I think that's a great partnership. I really like Jesse a lot. He's the administrator out there that runs the Y. I know him really well, and I don't really know too many other people that would step up and take on that responsibility, because it's a pretty big responsibility there to manage and run that pool. And I've always thought they've done a great job. Ever since my family's gone to the pool, I thought they've always done a nice job.
It's a tough job too. When you think even lifeguards, especially when you close the pool if it rains and that, so you don't have the hours, and then people going back to school early. So it's difficult to manage all those people.
Yeah, it's certainly, it's a part-time gig for all those kids. I mean, it's basically for, older high school kids or young college kids. I think it's a great summer job. I mean, nice day, sitting out in the pool, a lot of responsibility there still, but it's a pretty good gig. So
you had mentioned Paul Weaver earlier. I remember he had told a story about why he supported the pool. He always thought it was good to have so that kids could learn to swim, so that when they got a little older and then went down to the river, they knew how to swim. Right. And there's a whole cycle of life there. Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the whole idea of, it's meant for a whole variety of families there. Myself, I don't have a pool in my backyard. I don't plan on getting one. So it's a great place. I grew up a little closer to Sligo, so I have so many great memories growing up from age, 6, 7 till about 13 of just going to the Sligo pool and having these memories with all my buddies and my friends and swimming and off the diving board and all these crazy things and the trouble we used to get into down there. And I hope my kids are having those same type of memories up here in Clarion.
Getting in trouble.
Well, I don't know about that.
Not every memory. But Sligo is a good example, though, of, I believe, a council of governments, a COG, went together, the municipalities went together and operated a pool. And I've always thought it's essential that people while this pool is in Clarion, it's not just a Clarion Borough pool.
It's hard to get that across to everybody, especially on the township level, in that municipality level. I think particularly is that it's the borough pool, but there's shared responsibility there with everything. So it would be great if we could form a COG like that. I mean, there's nothing in the plans or in the works, but boy, what a tremendous asset that would be if we could get more municipalities involved in rec in general.
Thank you. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back soon with more Clarion Connection.
I'll have the grilled cheese, please.
Hot or cold?
Hot isn't grilled hot.
We're still looking to hire a cook for the summer season, so cold?
But your name is Hot Grilled Cheeseria.
Yeah, I can give you bread and cheese, and you can try grilling it on your exhaust manifold.
Don't be stuck without a chef or any other seasonal employee you need. Log on to ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com.
If you have heated seats, you could sit on it and have a panini.
Okay.
Post as many jobs as you like in minutes and use as many words as you want for one low price. ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results. Ms. Munchler, would you file these documents, please?
Oh, okay, after I take your temperature.
Why are you a receptionist?
Well, because I couldn't find a nursing job.
Then why didn't you go online and check out ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com?
Okay, sir, take off your shirt and I'll take your blood pressure.
They have hundreds of local jobs, hospital, sales, IT. Oops, sorry. She's just...
your blood pressure just went sky high.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I'm going to need a specimen. Take this...
Get out! ClarionVenangoHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
The voices of shale energy.
My name's Nathan Bennett. I'm a geologist and a regulatory supervisor working with the shale energy industry in Williamsport, PA. When I tell people that, they say, so you're the guy whose job it is to protect our water. Actually, in shale operations like the one around Williamsport, there are literally hundreds of trained professionals working to keep the process safe and the water protected. That means everything from encasing our wells in multiple layers of steel and cement to monitoring the water we use when drilling for oil and natural gas. As a proud fourth-generation Pennsylvanian, those are the sort of fact-based reassurances I know I'd want to hear. And as someone employed by the oil and natural gas industry, those are the answers I'm committed to sharing. The way I see it, my job to protect the water and the environment is simply too important not to get right.
Learn more about shale energy at energyfromshale.org. Shale, the energy to do it right. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
The 7th Annual Daniel E. Stitt IV Memorial Scholarship Motorcycle Ride and Poker Run, Saturday, June 23rd at the Antler Club in Lucinda. Ride starts at noon, rain or shine, with registration at 9:30, dinner at 5. For more information, visit dannysgifts.org or call 744-5434. A huge thank you going out to Fred L. Burns, Cribble Companies, Kaylee's Kitchens, Mark's Auto Repair, the Triple R Roadhouse, and DMS Printing and Mailing. Watch for signs and balloons.
Welcome back to Clarion Connection. I'm Ron Wilshire with Jamie Simpson, and we're talking about the Clarion Pool and recreation in Clarion today. Jamie, what was used as a foundation for possible expenses facing the Clarion Pool, a regional recreation study was also developed just to see the needs for recreation in the area. How did pools rate in general for that?
Well, I don't know. I haven't taken a good look at that regional rec study. You know, I went to those meetings when that first came out, and I was interested in the plan. I don't really know if the pools in general were a major focus. I think they were looking more on the trail side, more on, and I think also everybody's concern was having some type of, formal YMCA, I guess, for lack of a better word, a larger building and a community-centered type of aspect towards it.
I think indoor pools were a big topic on that survey, and that's why we'd mentioned earlier that maybe the fixing the Clarion Pool right now to open and maybe a short term and just see what develops for long term.
Yeah, I think there's some talk of that, but I don't know. I can't imagine not having some type of outdoor swimming pool. It just seems that's where everybody's first experience is going to be is in the summertime when it's hot, and especially as a youngster going out and starting in some type of wading pool or holding your breath for the first time under the water, and then the big leap over to the 2-foot or the 3-foot area. I think the indoor pool is probably more where you develop those skills, or maybe where you take lessons. Both my kids took lessons at the university through their co-op program with the swimming and diving teams up there, and great experience. And I know the university is going through a big project now with a new natatorium on the way, and possibly even a new rec indoor pool there through the university as well. So there's some cool things going on there.
Yeah, I think we had Paul Bylaska on a number of weeks ago from the university, and they talked about, believe the pool would be located off of, sort of where Campbell Hall, if anyone's familiar with the residence halls.
Right.
And there would be some type of indoor pool there.
Right. I think they're, not only are they going to reconstruct the competitive pools, but I think there's going to be this idea of just a rec pool where you can just go in and swim and have fun, and sort of, I think what the university wants is that, community connection where it's not just a university pool, but they want the community involved in that too.
Now, the borough's other big recreation area is the Paul Weaver Park.
Yeah.
Boy, that guy really got around.
He did.
But the whole Little League thing, and that's another really strong group of volunteers. I know you've been in the Little League over the years, and but the park's really grown there.
Yeah, and I think part of it is how do you take a really great resource like that and diversify it into something that essentially right now there's 3 components out at Paul A. Weaver Park. I mean, there's the fields, there's the 2 little playgrounds, and there's the pavilion and the picnic and that type of area. So what are some other areas that need addressed out there? I think one is there's a section of ground behind the last field out there, the softball field, that's sort of undeveloped right now. I think that's a primary focus. We need to, if anything, just make it some type of field where it's multi-purpose. You could do soccer, you could do flag football, you could just come out and toss a Frisbee, just something like that. And I think we also have to get back into creating some type of maybe a better placement for both playgrounds. If you've spent any time out there on a busy Friday night or Thursday night when baseball's going on, I don't know where the playgrounds are placed is ideal. Right next to the road where the cars are coming, through that area all the time. So, I would love, once we sort of get the pool project moving in the right direction, I would like to see, some basketball courts out there, a new upgraded playground, Maybe just some simple fixes out there, but certainly the fields are the main draw right now.
Would you consider land acquisition?
Yeah, I think it'd be great. I think it's funny, as long as I've been involved with the Little League, I think that comes up usually, once a year, and the same names sort of come up with the land acquisition. But if it would be possible, I mean, I don't have any personal connection there, but it would be amazing if we could, get a few more acres.
That'd be great. Another recreation area from years and years past, Clarion Borough used to have a thing called the Magic Square by the high school, and it had basketball courts.
Right.
And they got to be run down, but they also flooded it in the winter for ice skating. But a lot of people still have memories of that.
Well, and I think that's sort of, I've been talking a little bit with the Chericos, Kim and Fred, and a few other folks about, doing some type of organization where it not only focuses on rec, but cultural ideas and some other things and ways we can partner with people like the YMCA. But one of the focuses is the Weaver Park, and how can you take some of those great aspects from Magic Square, like the ice skating and the basketball courts, and how can we take some existing facilities now and repurpose them to include some of those ideas? So it's hard, you drive around local communities. I mean, I've been through East Brady. East Brady has a skateboard park. I mean, it's really cool. Clarion doesn't have one of those. You go out and look around, and Brockway is going through a pool renovation of their own right now, and partly due to ADA, but partly because their pool is about the same age as ours. So it's cool to go out and see these other communities, Oil City and Franklin and Titusville, and Du Bois has another, tremendous. Their YMCA, their park, their pool, it's all pretty much one main facility right in the center of town. It's tremendous. Now, of course, that doesn't happen overnight, but it's a good, there's other towns you can model your rec after.
Do you think council supports this?
I think so. I think council will support it once plans are on the table. I think it's hard when you have a bunch of ideas floating around and people are bringing a lot of ideas to the table. But I think once you sit down and look at the plan, and obviously it all comes down to cost. That's certainly still the number one factor with all of this.
The devil's always in the details.
That's right. That's right.
Do you want to just go over? You've been thrust into a lot of responsibility suddenly.
It's crazy.
How's it been on council?
It's been surprisingly. It was better than I thought. I think it was a tough situation when I was appointed, and I think once you get in and start working with people one-on-one and dealing with particular issues, I think it's been very positive. It's been a great experience. There's certainly huge challenges on the horizon. There's still big things out there. Part of my duties as a councilman is we're going through a housing and zoning rewrite, I guess, is what it is. And we're working with a consultant right now on that. There's still a lot of work to be done on that. It's still very preliminary, very, still figuring it all out. But, there's a police contract that's coming up at the end of the year. There's a lot of things going on. So,
have the police been offered a contract?
No, I think it's all been worked with in committee right now, as far as they've been negotiating with that public safety committee right now. I haven't seen any details. I know what's sort of been announced at the last meeting, that they have a preliminary agreement between that committee and the representatives from the police department, but. Nothing's been, I don't think anything's been written, and certainly I haven't seen anything in writing yet.
What's always difficult to match what you want to do versus the budget you have, and really with the changing tax base in Clarion Borough, it makes it tough.
Yeah, I'm personally interested in that, how that's all going to match between the new police contract and the current budget and future budgets. I think that's the primary role as a councilman, is to, protect the interests of your taxpayers. So, and balance that out with public service. So how do you do both, and how do you make everybody win? How do you make your taxpayers win, and how do you make your employees win? I mean, that's what you want to do, is have a win-win on both sides. Right. I don't know if that's possible. We'll see.
But the important thing is to try to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and I think it's good forward momentum. I mean, the committee's come back really positive, and I think from their experience in the past, when the last police contract happened, I don't think that experience was very positive from what I understood. It was a hard-fought, hard battle type of contract. So,
have you found the skills that you've developed over the years as a disc jockey and wedding organizer?
Yeah, sure.
Have they helped in public office? You know, dealing with different types of people. And
yeah, I think it's still one of those things where when anybody asks me about what I do in my career, and it translates across the board to a lot of different areas. I mean, it's still about being a good listener. It's still about having some type of communication skills where you have to communicate your position or your ideas. I have an elementary education background. That's what my college degree is in. So I always tell people that, teaching kids and being a disc jockey is basically the exact same thing. It's just for two different audiences. So
different music.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same presentation. It's the same energy. It's the same everything else. But it's, instead of getting, a wedding guest to do celebration, it's getting kids to learn their math problems. Same type of idea.
Kind of just have to find the right tune for people to urge them on. So,
exactly.
So hopefully, in Clarion Borough, you'll be, looking at that and finding something to march to. I don't doubt that you'll be successful there. The zoning thing, I would say, is that, boy, that'll. You thought the pool thing was going to be an issue.
Yeah, it's really. It's been interesting. I mean, it's so far it's sort of crept along right now, but I'm certain that in another month or so, it's going to just catch fire, and there's going to be a lot more work and organization. There's still several meetings that need to happen with local businesses and folks that have rental properties here in the borough, and bring everybody on board. We've already met with the university. We've already we've met within council about some ideas and ways we want to help, the taxpayers and help with the zoning and everything else.